How's everybody doing? It's me, Dustin Coyle, once again. You're tuned in to Intelligent Thoughts. This show is the NBA Today for March 20th, 2019. We've got a little bit of a breakdown today. We're going to talk about James Harden a little bit later. The Nets with a big day yesterday. But before we get into anything, I want to go ahead and ask anybody who's interested or who likes the show, follows social media, to go and follow me on, or follow the page on Twitter at IntelligentTho1. It's Intelligent THO and the number 1. Or you can find the show on Instagram at Intelligent B Thoughts. And that's the word B, B-E in there, Intelligent B Thoughts. Or Facebook. There's also a Facebook page, Intelligent Thoughts. It's pretty simple. The same picture that you see with all of the podcasts that I upload here. Like I said, I teased a little bit of the Nets. Had a big game last night. James Harden setting a single-season record last night. Was it a good one? Was it a bad one? How did the game go? Before we get into this, let's play some music and start the show. That's enough of the music. Let's get into some NBA talk here. The first game we're going to talk about is not one of the ones that I just previewed there. We're going to do the Philadelphia 76ers in Charlotte as we go in chronological order here. The Philadelphia Sixers. Tough game here, actually. The Sixers are down by 4 points going into the fourth quarter, but they do win the game 118 to 114. Ben Simmons with a awesome game for Ben Simmons, especially 11 for 12 from the field. He finishes with 28 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. J.J. Redick 7 for 14 from downtown, 7 threes for Redick. He finishes close to a triple-double. I'm not sure that J.J. Redick has ever had a triple-double in his career. 27 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists in the victory there. In a losing effort for the Hornets, they are led off the bench by Jeremy Lamb. How about this? 6 for 11. Just 11 shots. He finishes with 26 points and 11 rebounds. Big game off the bench for Jeremy Lamb. Kemba Walker in the starting lineup, the second leading scorer for the Hornets. 21 points for him on 8 of 18 shooting. Good win on the road there for the 76ers. This is the game directly after they beat the Bucks on the road. One of the better road teams now with their additions of Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler playing a lot better defense. One of the better road teams in the league. And I believe they're up in third place. They are in third place right now in the Eastern Conference, and I would be surprised if they fall back to fourth or anything further from there. Big win for Philadelphia. In Atlanta, I did tease this one a little bit. The Rockets beat the Hawks 121 to 105. James Harden sets a single-season mark, NBA record for the most three-point field goals attempted in a season. We still have, 15 games to go. 11 games to go. My bad. No, 15 games. And a pretty good game for him there. 31 points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds, 8 for 18 shooting, makes 4 threes. Clint Capella also chips in with 26 points and 11 rebounds on 11 for 13 shooting. If the Rockets are going to do anything in the playoffs, it's going to be crucial that Clint Capella and Kenneth Faried both have productive postseasons. Obviously, James Harden is the catalyst for the team, and Chris Paul, to some extent, is the engine or the motor of the team to make them go, but those guys can only do so much, and their winning recipe really, really comes when the two big men are playing well and getting incorporated from the 2-point guards. And they are doing so right now. Kenneth Faried, 8 points, 4 rebounds in 21 minutes, 4 for 6 from the field. Both of those guys shoot a really high clip from the field, and that's going to be necessary for them to get some W's in the postseason. As far as the Hawks, they're led by Trae Young's 21 points, 12 assists, 6 for 13 from the field, and John Collins, 20 points, 10 rebounds on 9 for 14 in the loss. In Milwaukee, a game that had both of its stars missing in action in this one, the Bucks without Giannis defeat the Lakers without LeBron, 115-101. In the victory here, the Bucks are led by Chris Middleton's 30-point, 10-rebound performance, makes 4 threes, and then 23 points from Nikola Mirotic, 3 threes from him. Brook Lopez, 5 threes, 8 for 14 shooting, 28 points, 9 rebounds, dominates the center game, dominates JaVale McGee, who had a much tougher game in this one. Brook Lopez, ex-Lakers, kind of shitty when you see people like that come back to haunt you. For the Lakers, they're actually led by Kentavious Caldwell-Pope's 35 points off of the bench, 8 for 14 from downtown. I do believe that's a career-high three-pointers made and probably attempted for KCP. Big game. Good to see him playing well. And other than that, it's a little bit dim. Kyle Kuzma, second in scoring with 17 points on just 4 for 17 shooting. Rough game overall. And like I said, Milwaukee wins 115-101. In Minnesota, the Golden State Warriors, behind Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, win the game 117-107 on the road. Steph Curry, 36 points, 8 for 14 from downtown, the same as KCP there, except that he was in the starting lineup. And Klay Thompson, 4 for 10 from downtown, 28 points for him in the victory. Kevin Durant chips in 17 points and 9 assists, a little bit more of a facilitator role for KD. He also drains 3 triples. As far as the Timberwolves are concerned, Karl Towns, 26 points, 21 rebounds, 10 for 16 shooting, drains a couple of threes also. And then their second leading scorer, again with another big game, Josh Okogie, 19 points, just 9 shots overall, 6 for 9, and 3 for 6 from downtown, albeit in the loss. In Sacramento, I teased this one a little bit as well. The Nets, down by 25 points in the fourth quarter, come back to beat the Kings 123-121. D'Angelo Russell scored 27 of his career-high 44 points in the fourth quarter to get the victory. I want to see what the scoring differential was in the fourth quarter alone. The Nets scored 45 in the fourth. The Kings just 18 points in the fourth. A 27-point difference, and that ends up being the game there for Brooklyn. As I said, they're led in scoring by D'Angelo Russell, 44 points. 12 assists. He makes 6 threes, 17 for 33 shooting. A lot of shots put up for D'Angelo Russell, but obviously necessary in order to get his team back in the game. The second leading scorer for the Nets is Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, 14 points on 6 for 7 shooting off the bench. As far as the Kings are concerned, their leading scorer, Marvin Bagley, 28 points, 7 boards, 12 for 15 shooting. He shoots 80%, makes both of his three-point attempts. Awesome game. I love Marvin Bagley right now. De'Aaron Fox also gives 27 points, 9 assists on 10 for 20 shooting in the starting lineup. And the last game of last night. Where are we at? Take me back. The Clippers at home get their first win over the Pacers at home. Their first home win over the Pacers in 5 years. They win 115-109. They're led in scoring by Danilo Gallinari, 24 points on 8 for 17 shooting. Big game for him. And Montrezl Harrell off the bench, 20 points and 12 rebounds in 29 minutes. For the Pacers, they are led in scoring by 2 guys. Bojan Bogdanovic, 19 points in the starting lineup, 6 for 12, 2 for 4 from downtown. And Tyreek Evans coming off the bench, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Big game for him, albeit in a loss. And actually, Sabonis played pretty well. Domantas Sabonis, 13 points, 16 boards, 6 assists in 28 minutes. Arguably the Pacers' best player, and definitely I would say their most improved player, but not enough. They lose by 6 on the road in L.A. All right, that's enough for yesterday. We recapped all 6 games. A pretty light day in the NBA there. Just as far as action and overall games are concerned. Today, however, How many games do we have? Let me look this up here. Today, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games today, including a doubleheader on ESPN. One awesome matchup, Eastern Conference Finals hopefuls matchup. We'll get into that in just a second. Let's start at 5 o'clock Mountain Time again in Cleveland. The Cleveland Cavaliers host the Milwaukee Bucks, who just beat the Lakers last night. This will be the second half of a back-to-back for them. Not far to travel from Milwaukee to Cleveland, however. Still says Giannis is day-to-day. Pau Gasol is day-to-day. Ilyasova is day-to-day. So it looks like Milwaukee is going to be without a pretty high percentage of their players. Obviously, it didn't matter yesterday when Middleton and Brook Lopez stepped up. But you'd like to see the Greek Freak back in the lineup, if anything. As far as Cleveland, they're going to be without Nance, Tristan Thompson, Dellavedova, and K. Love still day-to-day. So it looks like he's going to be missing this one here. Milwaukee's going to be favored by 9.5 on the road, and ESPN's giving them an 86% chance to get the victory in this one. All right, still 5 o'clock Eastern, or 7 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Mountain, my bad, in Orlando. Orlando Magic fighting. I think they're about a game behind in the 8th seed for the playoff position in the Eastern Conference. They get a pretty good home game that they should probably win here. They're hosting the New Orleans Pelicans. They're obviously going to be without Markelle Fultz. It'll be nice to see him make his return or his debut in the Magic lineup or his return to the NBA. Really rooting for Markelle Fultz. He's a beast. And then the same thing going for New Orleans, the same players that they were missing the other day. They're going to be missing today. Etuan Moore, Jrue Holiday's out. That's a big one. And Trevon Blewett. The Orlando Magic are going to be favored by 7.5 points. ESPN, though, giving them just a 55% chance to get the victory in this one. All right, still 5 o'clock here. This one, the first half of a doubleheader on ESPN in Philadelphia. The Philadelphia 76ers host the Boston Celtics. This is going to be an awesome game. So excited to watch this one. A little bit of injury news, though, for Boston. Horford, Hayward, and a couple other dudes that are not nearly as important are listed as day-to-day. It's not saying whether or not they're going to play here. Let me push pause and try to come up with some answers regarding that shit. So here it's saying that Gordon Hayward, with his concussion, is not going to play, and it looks like Al Horford will play in this one. Remember, 5 o'clock on ESPN, Philadelphia, favored by 3 at home, which basically means it's an even split game. That is just the home court point spread advantage that you traditionally get from Vegas. So basically a pretty even game. Philly favored by 3. ESPN has Philadelphia at a 52% chance to win the game. Definitely watch this one. It should be awesome. Joel Embiid also has quite a bit of trouble usually with Al Horford. Horford, a really good pick and pop shooter from the 5 position. Last year, actually, they ended up putting Joel Embiid on Marcus Morris and having him guard the 4, and then putting a little bit more of a versatile player, whoever that be at the time, on Al Horford. Let's see if that happens today. How Horford defends against Embiid, who's been on a tear lately. It's going to be a really interesting game. I'm stoked to watch it. All right, 5:30 p.m. in New York City. We have the New York Knicks hosting the Utah Jazz. Looks like Dante Exum is going to be out of this game. Derek Favors day-to-day. He tweaked his ankle, I do believe, a couple of days ago. He may or may not be in the game. The New York Knicks, though, they're going to be without Dennis Smith, Frank Ntilikina, and Noah Vonleh. Utah going to be favored by 12.5 points. They have one of the best defenses in the league, especially lately. On the road they are. And ESPN has given them a 79% chance to get the W. All right, 6 p.m. here in Chicago. We have the Chicago Bulls hosting the Washington Wizards in a game between two teams that actually made a trade earlier in the season. Bobby Portis and Jabari Parker going to Washington. Otto Porter to the Bulls. They're going to meet up against their former teams in this one. Actually, Otto Porter is day-to-day, so it looks like he might not play. Zach LaVine also day-to-day. Let me find out if they're actually going to play in this one here. Yeah, it doesn't really say anything about it, so I'm actually going to assume that both players are going to play in this one. Otherwise, they'd probably be designated out.